I'm getting on with stuff at the moment as if, I was going to say as if this morning hasn't happened, and then beyond that, the last 10 years. But either way, the way is forward, and for that reason, I'm getting on, moving forward. I'm not stopping. As much as I half stopped in my mind this morning to assess insanity, ruined half my day, and that's about it. Other than that, I know this is all depressing. I'm getting onto the positivity. Except for the added heap on the pile of the trauma. Not an issue. Well, it is an issue, but I'm not thinking about it. Just have to grab my rolling papers. So, life is a constant challenge, and it is for everybody. Or at least, if you don't know it's a challenge, then you're doing something right, and just forget everybody else, just carry on doing what you're doing. But it's a real fight through a swamp at the moment, and an idea for a discussion popped to mind, and I like the theory, and that's basically what I've been implying in within the madness that I of the live streams that I've been making, and that is presence. How present are we all to life? We might practice meditation, we might practice mindfulness, we might do some yoga and some exercise and be blissful and peaceful and everything else. But it's a case of giving yourself credit to be able to take that presence into every second of every day, despite whatever's happening. Now, what I'm trying to get at with that is the set idea for mindfulness and the set idea for meditation is a very still practice, a very silent, a very alone practice, and that's in essence meditation. What's the point of doing that? You come away and 2 seconds later you fall over and you become a stressed idiot. Or it's not magic meditation, is it? It's not like this magical thing that, meditate and it sort of creates this law of attraction process in my life and my life becomes blissful. No. Meditation, the point is that we live our lives And then we take that stillness that we find in that moment and go back to life, go back to the stress. And hopefully, with touching base to the stillness every so often, we can keep focus within utter turmoil or whatever is presented to us, and hopefully that guides us back to a state of something that looks a bit more peaceful. Well, the idea occurred to me that it gets to the point where no matter how much you want to meditate and do all of these things, sometimes it's not possible. What happens if you get knocked off your perch in terms of meditation, or you have a physical discomfort that prevents you from being still? Then you apply mindfulness, and mindfulness is the act of acceptance, really, to whatever comes your way. So imagine we start off meditating, and we know meditation. Then we have a car accident and we get chronic pain. So applying ourselves to that same meditative practice is no longer possible. You can't really sit because you've got a spinal injuries, and to sit you have to meditate through the pain, which isn't possible. Standing, any position, there's pain. And on top of that, you've got to live life. You've got to go and work, you've got to find food, you've got to look after your home, you've got to do this, you've got to look after friends, blah, blah, blah. And that meditative practice you once knew is no longer possible. So the other option is, as I said, to apply mindfulness to everyday life, and it's like a grind mindfulness. You're not really alive, you're not really true. It's almost like seeing an aspect of being alive as wrong. In other words, the fight for life is wrong. The energy, the pushing to achieve is wrong. And we just lop that bit off us and we get on with life, and it becomes a mindful practice to life, and it's never the same as that meditative practice, but there's an element of peace. That's because we think we've done something wrong, in my head. That's because on some level we can't accept that we've done nothing wrong, man. We're innocent children to an insane world, and we get given mindfulness as a solution, like to get towards that meditation again. But if we're honest with ourselves, if we're honest about the discomforts and the pains and everything, and we're really present to life, mindfulness isn't really possible, is it? How can you be present to the pain, the discomfort that prevents you from doing the thing you would otherwise choose to do? You tell yourself a lie. And in my mind, that's not really mindfulness. Mindfulness is being utterly truthful, utterly at peace, utterly present. And to lie to ourselves, we're not really present. I am crawling up to the front of the boat to open the hatch so I can bring in supplies. And how many people in this world, how many people can say, yeah, I've just had this accident, I'm not able to do the same things anymore, and ride out the fight of that new way of life? In other words, can we really be mindful to the circumstance in the first instance and admit everything and fight the pain, fight the discomfort as a human being, as everything you've ever been in your life? And what that looks like is a horrible life. You're fighting pain, you're fighting discomfort, you're fighting all of these things. And there's utter turmoil, there's utter conflict, there's pain like all the time. And on the surface, that's not mindfulness. On the surface, that's not presence. On the surface, that's not meditation. This one's going to be a challenge to bring in. When I'm sticking my head out halfway. But what if there's a third option? So we've got meditation, sitting, or a practice where you're actively finding peace in the moment. Then you've got mindfulness, which is an application of a lie to find peace. And what I'm, what's the word, implying, what I'm trying to indicate is there's a third option, and that third option, we can call it living. But what can we call it in terms of a meditative practice? Life. It would be just like humanness. It would be innocence. It would be like that childness, that child in us that is forever present with what they're doing. If you witness a child, they're present to life. They're not thinking about all of the different things. They experience their emotions. But with the child, they're not aware. That's the difference. And with awareness to the situation, we can claim all of the emotional hurt as mindfulness, as meditation, as a reclaiming of our childhood and our birthright gift as human beings, to just be born into that constant state of meditation. But it looks like trauma, it looks like turmoil, it looks painful, it looks like anything but, and feels anything but meditation. Now, I think where we go wrong is that we just think we're corrupt as human beings. We just think that we've fucked up in this life on a real serious level, and we've got to pay the cost. We've got to suffer to experience that thing that we desire. And we just get on with it. We just get on with our whole mindful life. Mindfulness is a huge a religion almost. It's a cult. It's a movement that swept the planet. And in its essence, the Thich Nhat Hanh is a very, very conscious being, if not the most representative of spirituality on the planet right now. He's the most forefront figure that I'm aware of that is actively making a positive change in this world. But you've got to start somewhere. And you can't tell people, you want to make it as easy as possible for people. You want to create as much positive change and positivity in the world to create a better place for everybody. But there's always been a niggling issue with me with regards to that, because I can see the Thich Nhat Hanh as he's the creator of mindfulness, or the one that spread the movement, helped spread the movement. There's been a problem with me that it's like, yeah, that's fine, but in essence what we are doing with that is creating children, and that child essentially experiences life from the perspective of a child again, with that lie. The children don't experience life on all levels like an adult would. And it's the same thing. You don't experience the meditative practice on all levels. Now, what if in the moment you said to yourself and you admitted to yourself, karma is the problem. Karma tells us we're wrong. Karma tells us we're suffering this way. We've made it harder for ourselves through something we've done, and that's why we've experienced that thing which prevents us from meditating and from creating peace in our lives. But what happens if we just say, no man, that's just life. No man, I'm born here on the planet, and with everything I've been given, I've tried. And where I've tried, I've done my best. And it just is. And unfortunately, right now, because I can't do the thing that I desire, that just isness is really shit. It's not my fault. I've done nothing wrong with it. And that's what I mean, give ourselves credit. And if we give ourselves credit, we can take. It doesn't feel like anything. If we let go of the need for a feeling or seeing rewards from meditation, and we just acknowledge that our life is one big effing constant meditative practice, because we are present to everything that we've lived, to our past, to that accident that prevents us. And we allow ourselves to roll in pain and scream and kick and whatever comes naturally, because that's who we are. And if it's so appropriate that we decide that in this moment I'm going to apply certain levels of conditioning that I've received. So in other words, some of the teachings, some of the more courteous, interactive traits we've learned that is appropriate within society, then that's fine too. And essentially, going forward, whatever you choose is a meditative practice, and there are no wrongs. I mean, that's essentially what I'm trying to do. Well, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. That's essentially what that's the way I'm seeing things. And in turn, that's the way I'm doing things. Or at least, because of doing, is the way I see things. There is no active need to change any doing. Now, doesn't that sound like meditation? To meditate, you have to go and sit down. You have to say, I'm going to decide to go and meditate. I'm saying be a little bit more present than meditation. You're meditating right now. And it's fucking agony, it's fucking horrible. But that's true meditation. And that's it. It was just to share and voice that idea. Because I've chosen to apply some of the conditioning I've had in my life to try and harmonise an unpleasant present. I've done nothing, mate. I haven't said to myself, right, today I'm going to actively be different from my past. Therefore, if I just do what comes naturally, even if I have to think and say I'm going to do this, but because it's your past, it becomes the practice. And you don't acknowledge that, oh, I've had to say I'm going to do this, because yeah, we're doing stuff. We have to do stuff to live. From the moment we're born, we have to we have to feed off the milk of our mother. We have to poo. We have to lie down. We have to sleep. We have to stand. We learn to walk. It's wrong to think that we don't have to do. So if we acknowledge we have to do, and we keep that to the purest way, in other words, we don't add anything to it, then we become adults in terms of meditation, in terms of taking the good start that the Thich Nhat Hanh has given the whole world to see and experience meditation, where they might never have experienced it in their lives, and say, yeah, that's great, but I see the reason. It was a necessity because the world was insane. In other words, my theory is that Thich Nhat Hanh saw the world and said, right, what do I have to do? What do we have to do? We've got to calm the fuck down. To do that, we need to meditate. And the Thich Nhat Hanh essentially told us what we needed to hear to begin meditating. And we've begun meditating. And we know meditation, we don't need to think about it. But can we take that gift that he's given us and realise actually we want to be alive as well. We don't want to be lying to ourselves about the ridiculous pain we're having to experience And can we grow up? And can we become alive? Can we take that starting point that Thich Nhat Hanh has given us, and through our own desire to be better beings, grow? Not because he's told us, not because anything is asked of us, but in essence, it's like whatever thing in your decision making led you to decide, right, I'm going to start living a mindful life. We start living a human life to what our birthright was. And it's painful because obviously we're running away from something, we're running away from a discomfort, running away from pressures. But can we grow? Can we choose to take on the work for ourselves and actively make the world a better place? I made the decision years ago to start living this way just because it made sense. I didn't think about the pain, and it has been harder to the nth degree than I ever thought it would be. I wouldn't have chosen to do it. So I'm going to leave you in the place of a void now, because I can't tell you to do this. It's too painful. But I am meditating. And in that void, the void is, you're not meditating. Not really. You're doing something as a collective for the betterment of the entire planet, but you're not really meditating. You're not really alive. And I'll leave you there to witness your own life in meditation, to witness the pain in your life as an alive human being. You can continue meditating and practicing mindfulness, but now you're witnessing your life in terms of that true pain that's present there, that keeps you running away to meditation. And I'm telling you, don't come here. Witness it and keep it at that level. Don't start living this way. It's too painful. You can't do it if you're sane. I don't know where it will go for you, if I'm honest. It's a bit like the end of The Matrix. Number one, when he's talking on the phone to the agents. I don't know where it will go for you. But I've given you something where you can taste a different meditative perspective, because you're already meditating. We all are, and we're just lying to ourselves that I have to do this thing so I can be. Where in reality, I'm doing this thing so I can be not. But hey, I've got an overactive mind, so do whatever you think.